Day 3 of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to the United States is underway. An official State Department launched a discussion with leading American CEOs and a diaspora outreach on the cards. The Prime Minister took part in a high-tech Handshake event at the White House. The Indian Prime Minister held meetings with entrepreneurs, CEOs and representatives from various companies. The U.S. President Joe Biden and the Indian Prime Minister met senior officials and CEOs of American and Indian companies. They discussed innovation and investment in a variety of technology sectors, including AI, semiconductors and space. Prime Minister Modi said the coming together of technology and talent is definitely a guarantee for a bright future.
Understanding the importance of technology, the progress that America has made in the area of technology, and the youth in India, thanks to its talent, has created an identity for itself in the world. So this coming together of talent and technology, I believe this is definitely a guarantee for a bright future.
Our countries are taking innovation and cooperation to a new level in our relationship, and thanks in large part to the folks around this table. So my message today is really simple. We've got to keep it up, and we have to make sure we aim even higher. We're going to see more technological change. You've heard me say this a number of times, in the next 10 years than we saw in the last 50 years.
Following the meetings, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken hosted a state lunch for the Prime Minister. The lunch includes officials from the State Department as well. Ahead of the lunch, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Vice President Kamala Harris and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the guests. The Indian Prime Minister raised a toast to friendship, peace and the prosperity of citizens in India and the United States. The Prime Minister praised Blinken, saying the U.S. Secretary of State had played a crucial role in strengthening ties between both nations.
Over the past several decades, the United States and India have been advancing the vision of greater interdependence, brought closer by administrations of different parties in both of our countries. Having worked for President Biden for over 20 years, I know that his belief in this partnership is long-standing and his commitment to delivering on its promise is unwavering.
पिछले 3 दिनों में मैंने अनेक बैठकों में हिस्सा लिया, कई विषयों पर चर्चा की। इन सभी बैठकों में एक चीज कॉमन थी, सब एक मत थे कि भारत और अमेरिका के लोगों के बीच मित्रता एवं सहयोग और गहरा होना चाहिए।
After the state lunch, the Indian Prime Minister will engage with influential figures and leaders from civil society at the Kennedy Center. This will also include prominent corporate honchos and personalities. The Prime Minister's final engagement will be interacting with members of the Indian diaspora and the Indo-US community, including community leaders. This is expected to take place at the Ronald Reagan Center in Washington, D.C. All right, so what we understand is happening right now is that business meetings are currently underway at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel in Washington, D.C. And we also understand that the Indian Prime Minister has already met or is discussing with the Boeing CEO, David L. Calhoun. They are at the Willard Intercontinental Hotel in Washington, D.C. This is the final leg of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's tour of the United States. And joining us to talk more about this final leg of the tour is our diplomatic correspondent, Sidhant Sibol. Sidhant Sibol is live from Washington, D.C. Sidhant Sibol, good to see you. What can we expect today, apart from these business meetings? We also understand that the Indian Prime Minister will be meeting the Indian diaspora.
Of course, we can talk that. Well, Eric, let me first tell you that where I'm standing in the Village Hotel, where the business meeting is right now underway. I'm inside the hotel, and it's just a few blocks away, I would say, a few rooms away actually. The meeting is underway. The Indian Prime Minister meets several business leaders, including Sundar Pichai. He has met the Boeing chief as well. And the focus, of course, is to bring more investments into India. And all throughout this visit, we know that the Indian Prime Minister has been meeting business leaders, whether it's Elon Musk in New York or whether it's here in Washington, Sundar Pichai or other such business leader, including Satya Nadella. But the focus from the Indian Prime Minister's side during this forum visit is to engage with business leaders so that they see India as an investment destination. India is the fifth largest economy and has been progressively trying to reduce the red tape when it comes to opening of businesses. It has moved up in the World Bank's ease of doing business. So essentially, these important meetings are key to India's economy and a larger message to the international investors when it comes to Indian economy. But that's just not it. It will be also the diaspora. The Indian Prime Minister meets the diaspora at the Kennedy Center, where of course his focus will be to talk to diaspora and that emphasis on the people-to-people relationship. Now, we know that entire visit has been laced with focus on the diaspora, which the Indian side and American side sees as the key component of this relationship. There are 4 million Indian American who are basically playing an important role in the community, in the policy making as well. There are several Indian Americans in the Biden administration as well. So the Indian Prime Minister has made sure that homage are given to the Indian Americans who came to America in 50s, 60s, 70s, and now, of course, playing a dynamic role in the American society. We saw the images from the South Launch of the White House. There are first images from the U.S. Capitol Hill as well, where during the address at the U.S. Congress, the diaspora were, of course, chanting patriotic slogan and the name of the Indian Prime Minister. So now the grand finale comes. The visit comes to an end with the diaspora event, and where the Indian Prime Minister will perhaps say the final word in this visit regarding India-US relationship.
Well, Siddhant Sibol, before this Willard Intercontinental Hotel meeting with the business leaders, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi did sit down with the US President Joe Biden for a 2.5-hour meeting with CEOs, which included Boeing, Amazon, Google, FedEx, and Adobe. And the president did say that talks were about their country's economic relationship, which he says is booming. Why is India interested in trade with the United States?
Well, Eric, one of the key pillars of the relationship has been critical technologies. India needs technology and America can play an important role. Also, the visit we saw focus on technological partnership, trusted technological partnership from both sides. And India and the United States earlier this year launched the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. Last week, we saw the 1.5 dialogue taking place where the American NSA had visited India for that dialogue. But essentially, that remains a pillar of this relationship, but it has expanded into several domains as well. Artificial intelligence, whether it is quantum. In fact, the Indian Prime Minister gifted a T-shirt to the US President Joe Biden at that technological Handshake event, and that T-shirt had there was two letters written basically. Artificial intelligence, AI, is something that we all know by the name AI, but the Indian Prime Minister gave a shirt in which it was written America and India, something he talked about at the US Capitol as well, the US Congress as well at the Capitol Hill. So largely there have been several dynamics in terms of how this relationship goes. The critical technology forms a key pillar of it, but it's just not critical technology. There's defense, trade, people-to-people relationship. So this visit essentially was that milestone visit that gives a major direction to India-US relationship.